Hello everyone, today I will explain to you why I am a big fan of Vocaloid and UTAUloid and also why I am very funny. Hi, my name is KATA and welcome to my channel. So, it finally happened, I have released all 3 of my own UTAUs into the world and now I am free from the shackles of obligatory preparations. You see, I took forever, for no reason, to create my own UTAUs. I came up with 10 years ago, but now I came to the realization that I can be confident enough in my abilities and my brain to actually do it, and I did. The universe of vocal synth has always fascinated me. The creations within this fandom hold a special place in my mind and heart, and therefore decided that I would like to interact with said fandom more. This video basically just functions as an introductory video to my channel, where I am going to upload all my creative or less creative ideas in the future. And now where all of my voice banks are released, I am finally able to be more loose in the projects I want to pursue. It was kind of a demand to myself that firstly all release covers, and this video, have to be put out before I sidetrack myself with the 7 trillion USTs I downloaded from the internet. But now, there's nothing holding me back. I can liberate my inner demons. To be honest, while working on the release, I have already started to work on like 5 other things, and while doing so constantly reminding myself that I should be doing something else. Before I'm getting even more sidetracked from the actual topic of this video, I will let you know that I thought of 5 key arguments to explain my fascination. And while typing this, hoping that I will actually come up with 5 distinct things, I have kept my overall explanation very vague with limited examples to generalize the points I'm trying to make as much as possible. I'm sure you all have unique experiences regarding vocal synth, music or stardom in general, and I would like that you are able to recall and remember those things while listening to my points. I feel like that this way you can develop a much more personal understanding of what I'm actually trying to say. However, I have splashed in a couple examples here and there to not completely talk about nothing and everything at the same time. So, here we go! Number 1. Nostalgia. Probably a reason that does not play too much of a role in the past when we just discover something new, but turns out even more relevant when we grow older. Independently from what you actually enjoy, you always develop a special attachment to it when it's also an interest you had in your younger years. Even if you get bored of it one day and move on to new stuff, the act of remembering what you enjoyed in the past comes along with a very warm and heartful feeling. Even more so if you still enjoy it. Like this one sweatshirt you have already for a decade which still fits you. By now your fashion choices might have altered, but nothing beats the comfort of a sweater of which you can't remember the buying year anymore. Same goes for songs. I have listened to Melt, Love is War, World is Mine to such an extent that my brain just happens to randomly go say "Ka!" out of nowhere in the middle of the day. I rarely actually listen to all this old stuff nowadays, but come back to it now and then. Like an old acquaintance you haven't heard of in forever and wondering what they are up to now. Number 2. The producers, the fellow basement dwellers. I think this is one of my most important points. The identity of the people who are actually creating the media we enjoy. By now a lot has altered, but I remember that in the past an overwhelming majority of songmakers and cover artists have been regular everyday people like you and me. And I see that a lot of them are still present today. Maybe not as active, most possibly not as famous or with a budget music labels and agencies have, but to be honest, this does not really matter. What actually matters is that we are driven by similar interests, topics, motivations and problems and therefore authentically understand each other. I feel like that a lot of the music produced in the synth sphere is genuine. Not a profit-orientated summary of what should this be about, how should it be made to generate an audience, but more, yeah, I thought of this, I think this is cool, important, enjoy. I think this is so cool, because that way we actually get to experience an innovation. Creating media for the sake of attention results in repeating the same topics over and over again. They accept topics that have been proven to address everyone. But doing so gets very dull. I'm aware that there are creative ways to make even the things unique that everyone is talking about, but I just miss the obscurity and stuff created nowadays. I would like less of a proven formula of attraction and more of, what the hell is this? For example, do you know what a coin locker baby is? I know, and I'm very sure I probably barely would have found out without Vocaloid music. Trust me, you don't need to know. Yeah, long story short, my impression is that many in this fandom are just we. Not some superstar, not some idol you absolutely feel disconnected from because their lifestyle is infinitely different from yours, but just us. the instant noodle eaters who have UTAUloid or the Vocaloid editor open to work on a new cover, and I see that this fact reflects itself a lot in Vocaloid music. Number 3. Healthy obsessions? This thesis kind of connects to my last point made. Jesus, me sounding like I'm going to submit this thing to my professor. It refers to the reality of what we actually enjoy and cheer for. Outside the synth sphere, there is the perspective of a critical look towards us cheering for a character that is not real. Basically, the boomer look on Hatsune Miku.
She is not a real person.
And when I think about this piece of criticism, I tend to direct my mind towards the view that most stars are not real persons. Let me explain. An idol, or just generally a persona with a lot of attention and fame, does not represent the ordinary everyday human. By saying this, I don't mean to discredit them as a human being, I don't mean their experiences and or opinions are less valid than ours, or that their achievements are somewhat not as solid. By claiming this, I mean that they artificially represent something desirable. Artificial not being their talent or their efforts, but more our preferences and expectations. I swear this was supposed to just be a short wit to explain my interest, and it's becoming some kind of scientific paper. It is very straightforward and part of our primal instincts that we prefer everything that's beautiful, young, in the terms of being vital, and generally everything serving us and what we personally like. And to be quite frank, ticking those boxes is somewhat a must to be idolized. If you think about a star in general or very clearly in the K-pop scene, those things are a necessity for idolization. And my honest opinion is that idolization is not human compliant. We do grow older, our appearance changes, and we have our own attitudes and do not want to be everyone's plaything or dress-up doll. Something along the lines of, I'm a human, I'm not your OC. Many celebrities sacrifice their own self and well-being and individuality for the sake of fame, and I think this is absolutely not worth it. Trying to fit ourselves into expectations not designed for us will ultimately always lead to disaster. I clearly remember when I was a kid that while everyone had their favorite human superstar in mind, I always disliked this idea. Because just when I thought of liking a celebrity, there was some kind of scandal. Idolization barely comes with a clear conscience, therefore I personally do not idolize anyone. Humans should be allowed to be flawed and free, that's what we are supposed to be. But we also have our own natural preferences, which is totally fine, making the idea of virtual idols in general more appealing. Miku and all other synths, Miku is just a template diva, can tick all boxes without an actual human being pressured or abused in the worst case. To be honest, idolizing a phantom or mascot like this just opens up the possibility of actually appreciating everything that made us idolize her. Of course, you can look at Miku and just see your favorite anime waifu, but you can also see an umbrella that's encapsulating so many talented artists and creative minds. When Miku performs on stage, it is a representation of many artists performing, who may not want to represent themselves this publicly like an anime character, but still want to be seen. Miku taking all of our favorite attributes is the instrument which amplifies those talents and making them heard. A voice for the voiceless, or you just see the turquoise hair, turquoise tie hiding in your Wi-Fi and can't name a single producer. That's fine too. I won't shame you. Every like and merch counts. God, this was a long one. I felt like I rambled a lot, but this point can get really convoluted, so I wanted to make sure to explain it thoroughly. I have been quite critical of the idea of pursuing or entering stardom and therefore want to add that this is simply one perspective to take. I do not want to undermine the efforts or dreams of people who want to become famous stars, singers, dancers, or who even have the wish of reaching idol status. I'm also aware that there is the possibility of forming a healthy fame-orientated career path with a normal relationship to your audience. It is just a very visible and toxic layer lying on top of everything that can give us a twisted view. Probably the most controversial of my views. Feel free to express your opinions on that. Number 4. True variety and diversity. This next aspect also builds on the second point I made, which proves once again that everything is powered by the people responsible for it. The interesting thing about Vocaloid, UTAUloid, vocal synth is that it's not a specific genre of music but a merge of many different genres and styles. And even though this is the case, we still refer to songs as Vocaloid songs or Vocaloid originals. Why is that so? Is it because the piece has been specifically created to be sung by a synth? Or Slim Shady? Or is it more to address like-minded people? Whatever the reason for this might be, no one can deny that the amount of different works that have been made over the years using synth technology is overwhelming, also resulting in the flex we like to make that no artist has as many songs as Miko has, because Miko does not have one single songwriter, the whole world is his songwriter. The world is truly hers. But it does not stop with Miko. As mentioned previously, I say Miko all the time as a template, a summarization of so many different synths that all have their respective strengths and styles. To be honest guys, I get it. I'm also tired of only seeing Miko all the time, when we also have all of this. But as mentioned previously, I see Miko as a mascot, like a logo for not just a technology but also content and characters in general. Just saying synths would not cut it. Miko's success has developed such a strong picture and metaphor of what all of this is we enjoy so much. I mean, I could say Miku and Kaito, Maiko, Lucarin, Ninja, Kupo, Kumi, Fukaseleli, Biflower, Babana, Kayuki, Himaya, Kyotero, SeeU, Thul, Miko, Eo, Miku, Chato, Mitsubuko, Bufo, Nana, Matsuda Poyo, or I could just say Miku. Miku, please just let me say. Yeah. Truly, one day there are going to be as many synths as there are songs for them to sing. They may not be commercial, but just as valid. And as I'm mentioning non-commercial synths, I want to shout out the UTA program as the OG for free synth usage. Nowadays we have newer possibilities, but UTAUloid has truly become a veteran. I just think it's very important to have a free option to play around with before you are actually ready to pay for some piece of software, and besides that, UTA also opens up the chance to find hidden gems and cut them into commercial synths, which is very cool. However, next to the variety of the countless characters and voices we have, I'd also like to point out the insane diversity in topics Vocaloid songs cover. As I already said, I like obscurity in media, and you will find no more obscurity than when you are deep diving music videos on YouTube or Nico Nico Doja with Japanese titles you can't even read. From a man getting lost and trapped in a forest by a girl, to an epic song about something very cold, to another song about something very cold, to a girl who has repeatedly had her heart broken and passed away, to a song about macarons, or cannibalism or sex, what? To a person who is struggling to accept and move on from an unrequited love, to this. Just listen to the song, don't look up the lyrics. Yeah, I'm the kind of person who likes to learn about a lot of stuff, and Vocaloid covers a lot of stuff. That's probably the reason I like it so much. Number 5. Unmatched creativity. My last argument is kinda my closing argument. What a revelation, Kata! Your last argument is the argument you're closing with? My
bread is melting, guys.
But it's also a summary, to be honest. Every point I addressed in this video had something to do with creative power, and this is probably because I don't think I know anything more creative and innovative than Vocaloid and the synths that followed. The following things I am about to say might also apply to any other hobby, but I personally perceive it to be very strong within vocal synth. Vocaloid is one of the most multidisciplinary interests to follow and pursue. Multidisciplinary meaning that you combine a lot of different skills and specializations to make a whole project happen. When I started to work on my own UTAUs a year ago, there's a lot I had to do. Writing the concept, the lore and character details, figuring out how to make a voice bank, and oh boy, this was a ride, which includes learning somewhat of proper music theory for the first time, figure out my vocal range, figure out how several programs work, figure out how to record, actually record everything, then re-record it because it sucked, understanding aliasing, so just cheekily get a diploma in linguistics, understanding autoing I still have not understood, making a prefix snag because I recorded multiple pitches, understanding resamples and rough tools I still have not understood, drawing the splash arts and references, put together the wiki pages, figure out how to make a website for them, put together the release covers, getting an understanding of how to tune, how to mix, and just YouTube, and then BAM! There they are! My UTAUs. Yeah! I have the utmost respect for everyone who has an UTAU, but be wary of people who have a VCVE bank because those are insane. And because all of this isn't difficult enough, any helpful tutorials or resources are like 10 years old and outdated with a very limited amount of newer learning materials, but luckily newer stuff exists, and people online exist who can help you, and OpenUTAU exists. I will not touch OG UTAU, I'm sorry, it gave me nightmares as a child. I'm guilty of being interface dependent. The work is huge but also really rewarding. Once you have an UTAU yourself, you'll be just plugging it into every UST imaginable. I consider the very nature of vocal synth to be creative, as the way you are supposed to use it demands you to craft and put work into it. It is a tool, an instrument to enhance your work. I don't see vocal synths replacing actual singers, I see it like a separate discipline of media. To create synths we actually need real singers. And as long as it remains an extension and not a replacement, it will bring joy, and I really hope we can contribute to a development where AI will follow along with those guidelines, as this is the future of synth vocals. Anyway, that was my video essay. And I can already tell while writing all of this that it will turn out much longer than anticipated, but what's said is said. To be honest, I could add much more, but it's already too long, and me continuing is what we call in Germany übers Ziel hinausschießen. What do you think? Do you agree with me, or am I way off on something?
Let me know.
This channel will be dedicated to all vocal synth related things with a probably very sporadic upload schedule, like most synth channels, and will probably mostly consist of covers. But I already have an idea for something else in mind. You'll see soon. That's it. Bye!